Great to be here. My name is Saranta, and I'm going to tell you a bit about myself and what this month's topic, mental health and self-care, means to me in today's world. So I was born in Brussels to a Singaporean Indian mother and British father. We moved to Singapore when I was 3, and coming from Brussels, where my brother started going to school and learning French, when we moved to Singapore, my parents enrolled us in the French school here, wanting us to grow up bilingual. Funnily, though, it was not in a language that was either of their firsts, or even in a culture they were from, but together adopted into their lives when they were in Brussels and raised us in. It was really a very unique mix of what my parents created and were together, separate from their own families. So my dad's parents passed away before my brother and I got a chance to meet them. Being an only child, my dad held no strong roots to England, and you could say was pretty open and vulnerable to outside cultures. My mom, on the other hand, has strong values and traditions stemming from Singapore, and particularly rooted in Hinduism. But at the time, I guess, was living in a world outside of that and open to new cultural nuances and ways of life. So together they really formed what was uniquely them, driven by their beliefs and values. And so my brother, we grew up in a very European, predominantly French and Asian household, which I guess in its own way was our third culture growing up here in Singapore. Um, at 10, I moved to an international school, United World College of Southeast Asia, which itself exposed me to a whole other world of its own. And then for university, I went to the US, to Chicago, and it's been 6 years now that I've been back home in Singapore. A year and a half ago, my brother and I opened the Working Capital. It's a vibrant co-working space here in Singapore, offering a range of workspace solutions, community programs, professional and lifestyle events aimed at inspiring growth and well-being for the communities we support. So this month's theme, mental health and self-care, really resonates with me because it's so relevant to the journey I'm currently on right now. Taking a look into myself, what's important to me, and ultimately what makes me happy. Beyond resonating, though, it's there's something that really fascinates me about this topic, and it's really how uniquely individual self-care is. There isn't a universal answer or right or wrong way to go about it. There are definitely tips and best practices, but I guess my one caveat is that I'm not going to be able to provide you with the golden answer because I don't think there is one, and it's really different for everyone. What I hopefully will be able to do, though, is get you excited about this inner discovery because it really is fun and we should embrace it. There's no other way you would really want it to be because, I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, you're going to be spending the rest of your life with yourself, and you really want to make that a journey and self-discovery that you enjoy. I mean, we're also living in an increasingly complex world, and being your best self can be tough at times. There are expectations. People want answers. There's also so much uncertainty, from education to politics. Even happiness is being questioned. Technology is transforming our world and changing the way we live and connect. I think the ultimate question here is really, where do you stand? How do you appear in all of this noise, and what are the values that keep you grounded? Especially in the space I operate, it's a busy space, and you're constantly surrounded by people from all walks of life, servicing their needs, and are being presented with really exciting opportunities on a daily basis. You're surrounded by people starting and running their own businesses, operating in such a fast-moving world. You really get wrapped up in all the excitement, and I mean, you're sometimes forced to put on a brave face. Fake it until you make it, they say, right? So, but the reality is, we were born with a range of human emotions, happiness, joy, love, of course, being some of them, but also sadness, anxiety, disappointment, guilt, and maintaining a happy face is not only exhausting sometimes, but it can be a dangerous path to losing touch with your true self. A colleague of mine recently wrote an article that really drew an analogy between our psychological landscape and biological ecosystems. These ecosystems, they need a range of inhabitants to thrive and build resilience. So similarly, I mean, practicing self-care, it involves being aware and able to manage the diversity of your emotional landscape in such a complex world. Accept the feelings that surface and know where to lead them. Going back to your values and what's important to you will always point you in the right direction and really help you to put your best self forward. Because putting your best self forward is really not just for you in this global context. It's a responsibility we owe to society and those around us. In the most simplest form, for myself, I want to be a loving wife, a dedicated and passionate business partner, a supportive friend. Each of these wants are really going to challenge me. They're going to challenge my different emotions and the way I deal with them, force me to define what it means to be all of these things and what I need to do to get there. But most importantly, it's going to challenge me to be present for each and every one of these moments. And by being present, you become more aware of your surroundings and where you stand on a global scale. And this really, it forces you to become a more mindful global citizen. So being present has made me more conscious of the things I want for myself. It's made me more focused on the tasks at hand. It's brought more clarity to the decisions I need to make, not being so impulsive, and really brought more value to my relationships. Of course, there's going to be distractions. There always are. And spontaneity is fun. But it's also how you deal and bounce back from those distractions. I think self-care is also about self-compassion. So, I mean, don't be so hard on yourself. And I think checking back to your inner compass, if you're ever unsure, is always a good guide. So, to sum it up, I would say know your values and what's important to you. It can start from, a daily checklist, setting your intentions. Don't overcommit. Be realistic. At the beginning of every day, have the 3 things you want to do and go out and do them. At the end of the day, reflect and look back and have a bit of self-compassion and self-praise for what you've achieved. Secondly, I think take time to understand and accept your set of emotions. Be aware of how you are when you go through them and discover the things that help you to balance them out. Whether it's yoga, whether it's going for a run, whether it's cooking, be aware of how your energy is spent, but also the things that deplete your energy and what you need to lift yourself up again. And thirdly, be present in the things you set out to do. Sometimes that means being more present with yourself, saying no to certain things to be more present in others. Check back to what's important to you, to your values, and ultimately how you want to feel to help you decide where you want to bring your best self. So yeah, enjoy the ride and make it fun. It's really the best time that you can have with yourself.